Well, howdy there, folks. Happy weekend to everybody that watches this over the weekend. And if you don't get to this till Monday, Tuesday, something like that, hello to you as well. Okay, 4 core subjects I want to talk about in this video that I think are very important, that I want to talk about, get off my chest, those sorts of things that I think are important subjects to talk about. And I was thinking about doing these as all like separate videos, but I'm like, let me just cram it all into one video. We'll talk about all this. I'm sure it'll be very interesting to you guys, my perspective on some of these subjects. Okay, first one, I've had a little time to the first one of these 4 subjects talk about the honest. Okay, so I've had some time to digest it. The one thing that disappoints myself in when it comes to honest is I did not expect those sanitization numbers to be that down. So if I look at that, I never get sad or mad about like a stock going down short term, which that one obviously got destroyed 20+%, right? But that can happen to any stock. It happened to PayPal. It happened to Facebook. It happened to Netflix. Like, it doesn't matter how good your business model is, how proven you are, things like that. Like, everybody can get shredded, right? But for me, like, I never expected those numbers to be that bad. So that's what disappoints me in myself when it comes to honest and how bad those, 68% down for that sanitization business. I expected it to be down like 30 to 40% though. So 68% was just insane. So that's me when it comes to honest. Obviously everything, I love everything about that stock long term. I'm going to buy it this whole year, but it just disappoints me when I didn't see it coming. And for that business, I didn't realize like that few people even cared to buy sanitizer anymore. Like that's insane. Okay. Number 2, I think is an important subject, the pressure of YouTube, right? So I think we've all seen it recently. A lot of stocks have obviously gotten killed over the past year. The pressure's definitely weighed on a lot of the biggest social creators. I think we all know it. Like, you can see it, right? You see, some of the stuff that Kevin's put out. You see, obviously, Chicken, Singapore, leaving the platform and things like that. And other people that are smaller creators just leave and things like that, right? So, I think this is an important subject to talk about, the pressure of YouTube, the pressure of being on social media. So my perspective on this, as somebody that's been doing this for a long, long time, right, since 2016, Not everybody's built for this. I'll just be honest. Like, not everybody's built for the spotlight and the pressure and the stress that comes along with stocks, right? We know stocks can be highly volatile, and it's very easy to be out there and be a creator and talk about you're buying this stock, you're making this move and things like that when everything is going up, right? But what about when you go into a bear market, right? What about when the Nasdaq's down 20+% from its highs and the Russell's down 20+% from its highs, and it's just a lot of stocks have been shredded. Those are the sorts of moments that you find out like who's really going to be around long term and who's not going to be around long term. And not everybody's built to be this, because in the stock market space, there's a lot of criticism. And even if you're, let's say, investing in a company for a long-term perspective, let's say for the next, 5 years, if that stock goes down for the next 5 weeks after you talk about it, you're going to get a lot of criticism. Everybody's going to say it's a bad stock, it's going down, these sorts of things. You're going to face a lot of criticism. So the first thing is, I don't think people understand what they're signing up for when they create that YouTube channel, or they start that social media account or whatever, right? And want to start talking about stocks. Boy, you better be ready to take a lot of criticism, because that's going to come with it. And your stocks don't always go up. I don't care how good you are at stock picking. I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or, I don't care who you are. You're going to go through some time periods when stocks are all going down, or whether your specific stocks get hammered, okay? And so, yeah, I think some folks are finding out like maybe this isn't their thing, right? Second perspective on this, I always think about it in terms of, the pressure doesn't faze me much. And the reason being is, one, I always think about it as like paid and praised, okay, P and P. So in obviously the good markets, even not in a good market, this is a profession that can be very well paid if you get a lot of views. I think we all know that, right? So you're paid well, right? And you could get a lot of praise when your stocks are hitting and you're doing well, right? And so you can't have it both ways. You can't have it and say, I want the money, I want the notoriety, I want being praised, but you know what? I don't want the criticism. That's just not how this works. You're going to get that. I always look at it as like, being a professional athlete, right? If you have a bad game, reporters are going to be asking you a lot of questions you don't want to answer. You're going to have the fans mad at you. People on social media are going to be roasting you. That's the way it goes. But you're paid a lot of money to catch that football, to shoot that shot. So like, that just comes with the territory. So that's my personal perspective on that is, it is what it is. You have to just accept that. So that's that. The second thing for me is I think, deep down, I kind of like it. I like going through a tough market. I like going through time periods where my stocks are going down. It kind of makes me feel like an underdog, to be honest. I feel like an underdog, and I love that feeling. Deep down, I really like that feeling. I think on surface level, you might think you don't like it, but then deep down, I'm like, I like kind of being the underdog. I like being the one that's like, you don't know what you're doing, you're an idiot, those sorts of things. There's just something fun about that for me, and I'm just probably a little sicko, but I love that it's just kind of like fuel for the fire for me, right? And it feels that much better when things do turn and those stocks end up working out, right? Which I always am very, very confident the majority of my stocks are going to work out. Every once in a while, I'm going to make a mistake and it won't go up over the next 3-5 years. And I'll be like, dang, man, that one didn't work out. But I know the majority of the time they're going to work out, and some are going to work out way better than I ever anticipated. And I just love that feeling of like getting attacked, getting put down, and then, coming through in the end, and then people being like, oh, damn, hey, I was on his ass, but, he really ended up coming through in the end. So I think deep down, I'm probably just a little sick in the mind when it comes to that, or maybe it's just the best perspective to have of kind of, that underdog feeling. So, but I understand for some, it's been too much, right? And, it's just, there's nothing we're going to do to change it. And I've seen this happen with athletes before where they complain or they put themselves into like a victim mentality. And it's like, these fans are, heckling me and doing this, doing that. And, and it's like, at the end of the day, man, you just don't, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. Don't put yourself in a victim mentality because of that. That's just lame in the end. Number 3. I saw a comment recently, and it was like, Jeremy, you need to quit trying to be the gatekeeper of YouTube, investing YouTube, essentially, right? Meaning, essentially, like, I get kind of like offended or mad if people try to make certain decisions that aren't in the best, aren't in the best, let's call it, favor for investors long term, right? So not meaning like you buy a certain stock and I don't like that stock or something like that, but like investing principles, like maybe trying to trade in the market, get in and out of the market, things like that, like the core principles. So here's my opinion on that, okay? First off, as long as I'm doing this, I'm probably going to try to still continue to be the gatekeeper of YouTube. And the reason being is early in 2021, that was the closest moment I've ever come to wanting to quit YouTube outside of when I first started in 2016. What I saw on YouTube was just disgusting to me. I saw these creators that were blowing up and getting like 100,000 plus views that didn't have any clue like about like investing. They were like brand new to the market, but they're getting all these views. I saw the GameStop and the AMC wave, which was just that's not investing. That whole wave, that was just a bunch of random people trying to come in the market and try to make short-term money and try to say it's because of some cause, but they were just trying to make a bunch of money in the short term. And it was nothing about investing, right? We saw the meme stocks and all of that, those sorts of things, and these communities that were built up very, very quickly. And for me, it was just so disappointing to see because I'm like, a lot of these companies, they have no future, like literally no future or a lack of a future. And to see how insane some of those communities got was just extremely disappointing as somebody that's been in the stock market for a long, long time. And I'm like, this is not investing. What these folks are doing, that's not investing. This is not like I'm going to, invest in this company for the next 5 years because I think it's going to work out. It's like, no, because it has a high short interest and we got to, destroy the suits and all this crap, man. And I'm just like, it was very, very frustrating for me to see because I knew, that's not going to work out. And all those folks ended up getting shredded in the market and ended up leaving the market anyways. So it was extremely, I would just call it disappointing time. I even remember, on Millennial Money, this is when AMC stock was going crazy. The guys were trying to be a little impartial to AMC stock at that time. And, it was like, what's the chance AMC goes to $100? And I said, it is like a 1% to 2% chance, a very low probability. And so many people got super offended by that. Even one of the big AMC YouTubers at that time, they made a video next day, challenging me to a boxing match. Because I said there was a 1% to 2% probability that AMC would go over $100, getting that offended. And it was just the time period we were in. And it was just extremely just disappointing to see everything that was going on. And it was like, hey guys, okay, this is the hot stock for the day. This is the hot stock for the day. All right, Neo stock's gonna boom this week. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it was such a disappointing time. As somebody that's been here before anybody was here in the finance space in any meaningful way, it was just, I felt like the whole thing got taken. The whole thing got taken away. And the only good news is all those YouTubers have either left the platform now or get, literally a fraction of the views they used to get. Their channels like peaked literally between January and about April of 2021. And now their channels views are all down like 90% plus. So, that's just kind of my perspective on that. We got to stay disciplined with the principles. Not everybody's going to agree on the same stock. Some people are going to be like, that stock's not good, or you need to invest in this stock, or that stock doesn't have enough reward potential, or that stock's too risky. That's fine. Everybody's always going to have different opinions on, what stocks to buy and those sorts of things. But those core principles about buying the dip, about not panic selling in the market, not trying to get in and out, those sorts of things, not trying to trade in and out. Those are like the core principles that I want to make sure we keep on YouTube. And the day we lose those on YouTube is going to be a very disappointing day. And I hope that never happens as long as I'm on this platform. And I'm going to fight like it's nobody's business to make sure those principles are what stays in. And that's the bottom line there. And I won't give up. As long as I'm doing YouTube videos, I won't give up on that. And I'll do whatever it takes, literally whatever it takes, to make sure those certain things happen. And I will continue to be the gatekeeper. And I don't take offense by that. I'll continue to do that. All right. So fourth subject I want to talk about is Palantir stock. So I took part last night, and if you guys are really, really on the up and up, you saw this. It was about an hour and a half show essentially last night. With a gentleman named Amit and a few other folks. So if you want to watch that, type in AMIT and then like financial education. And you'll see I took part in this Palantir video last night, okay? And it was really interesting. I got to pick these gentlemen. They're all bulls on Palantir, and I got to pick their brains on Palantir stock, PLTR, which has been a very, very intriguing stock to me, and one I'm definitely considering as like a buy, right? It seems like it's the type of company that has a, let's call it a decade type opportunity in front of themselves, where they're just going to be able to grow like a beast for the next decade plus and build into a massive B2B company. And so it was interesting because I was asked, well, why haven't you built, Palantir into a big position or something like that yet, right? And so I love the revenue growth. I love everything about it. Even they're going to be profitable in 22. Like there's so much I love about it, right? There's a couple core reasons why I haven't been able to invest in it. One is, when it comes to Palantir, I can't see the product in the real world, right? It's not like a Tesla where I could see more and more Teslas being driven out here on the West Coast, and I was like, I see it right in front of my eyes. Like I know, this is taking off, or the other companies I invest in, where I can like go to a store and see the product on the shelves and be like, oh, they just got more products. Oh, they got more SKUs, those sorts of things. So with a Palantir, I don't know anybody that works at Palantir. I don't have any ins there, and so that's a tough one for me because I can't see this in the real world. I can't know that Palantir did this deal with this company until it's already announced, essentially, right? And so what the issue with that is, let's say Palantir puts up a bad quarter, right? Let's say, usually they grow like 30%, but let's say they have an off quarter for whatever reason. And let's say they grow like 17%. And everybody's like, what just happened to Palantir? The company's grown 17%. Like what? How am I supposed to have the confidence that they're going to go back to 30%? Never mind. What if they follow that up with another bad quarter and they grow 14% or something like that, right? Which happens to companies. I don't care how good of a company you are. You can have an off quarter or several off quarters. I don't care who you are. Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla. It doesn't matter who you are. Okay. You can report a quarter that just isn't there, and something happened in your business. How am I supposed to have the confidence? And so that's one of the big deep subjects that I'm trying to dive into is having that confidence. Especially if I was to load up on that stock, I'm going to obviously cover it on the channel, and then I'm going to have to make videos about it, and I'm going to have to give that sort of confidence out there. And I'm like, shoot, how am I going to do that with something like a Palantir? So that's definitely one issue. See, for instance, it was Q1 of, I think it was 2019. Tesla reported this awful quarter where their revenues were down several $billion on a sequential basis. They took like, oh gosh, I think it was like a $702 million loss, like some insane number. And if I recall, that was like Q1 of 2019, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I remember there was just this horrible quarter. It was right around that time period. It might have been Q1 of 2019. Horrible quarter. And, a lot of people jumped out of that stock. The stock tanked and, a lot of people jumped out. And the reason being is they didn't have that sort of confidence. They're like, oh my gosh, Tesla's demand is done. The best days of Tesla are behind it. This company can't grow anymore. They just shrunk revenues on a sequential basis, several $1 billion. They took this massive loss. And so everybody's like, that's it for Tesla. Not everybody, but there was a good amount of people that did that. And that's one of the reasons that stock sold off heavy, right? Now, the thing that got me through that time period, and actually I bought more and more Tesla shares in 2019. The thing that got me through that time is I saw it in the real world. And I'm like, one, I couldn't picture like EVs not being the future. Like I was like, I can't picture somebody going to a car dealership in the year 2030 and being like, can I get the internal combustion engine? You know what I mean? The ICE car. Like I just can't picture that. It's just like impossible for me to even imagine that. Maybe used cars, people still buying, ICE cars used, but not like a new, like I'm going to go get a new car in the year 2030 and it's going to be an internal combustion engine. Like, come on. So that's what got me through that tough time, is being able to see it in the real world. And with a Palantir, I'm like, shoot, man, how am I going to see this in the real world? I'm not in the B2B space. So that's one of the tough things for me with Palantir, although I love that stock so much. The second part that's really tough for me with Palantir is, in talking with those gentlemen last night, I got a lot more work to do there. I mean, if I'm going to buy a stock, I have to be able to talk to other investors that know a lot about that company and feel like I'm at least at the same level of them, but hopefully that I'm like above them when it comes to my knowledge on that company, my understanding of where that company's at, where their future's going, why their products and services are going to be great in the future, and those sorts of things. And just talking with those gentlemen, I realized like I'm just outclassed when it comes to that stock right now. So if I'm going to consider buying that one, I need to do a hell of a lot more work there. And I need to be on a level where I can talk with somebody that is super bullish on Palantir, understands the company inside and out, and I've got to feel like I'm at the same level of them, or if not above them, when it comes to just my knowledge. And if I can't be there, then that's not a good position to be in. I don't ever like to be in a deficit situation where I don't really get it as well as other folks get it. Okay. And so I think that should be said for all stocks out there. You got to be able to talk to other investors on a very high level, and they've got to be able to, respect you, right? If you talk to other people that own a stock and they really respect your opinion because you're that educated on it, that's a magical experience. And if you can't, and they feel like they're talking to somebody that doesn't really know what the heck they're doing or talking about, that's usually an issue when it comes to a stock. Okay, so yeah, guys, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just want to talk about all that. Much love as always. I appreciate you joining me, and have a great day.